सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Amrita. In our last video, we saw the importance of the great Bhagavad Gita. Now, what happens after Bhagavad Gita is ultimately the Mahabharat war. Before we carry on with today's video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then you should do that first and press the bell button so that you get notified every time I post a video online. From today's episode, we are going to see in different parts of all the 18 days as to how the great Mahabharat war, the Kurukshetra war, took place. The Pandavas' army had only 7 Akshonis army, while the Kauravas' army had 11 Akshonis. The Kauravas' army was almost twice as powerful as the Pandavas. It was the first day of the war in Kurukshetra. The blowing of the conches represented that the war was going to begin. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, it is clearly mentioned as to who blew which conch. Each one of them blew their own conches. Of course, Lord Krishna's conch is called Panchajanya, which he blew, and Arjuna's conch is called Devadatta. Once they blew the conches, Arjuna got into a conflict as to how to kill his own kith and kins and family, and that is when Krishna recited the entire Bhagavad Gita. After that was over, after he gave Krishna all the advice that was required, Arjuna was completely now prepared to fight the battle and win the battle. On the first day, the Kauravas' army was led by Bhishma and the Pandavas' army was led by Bhima. There were a lot of people who died on the first day of the war itself, but a lot of people died on the Kauravas' army than the Pandavas' army. The Kauravas suffered huge loss, and that day it turned out to be the victory of the Pandavas. Duryodhana knew that Bhishma was the most powerful among all of them, and he gave orders to the entire Kaurava army mainly to protect and to save Bhishma so that they could eventually win the war over the period of time. So on the second day of the war, everybody, all the warriors surrounded Bhishma, made sure that he was safe all the time. On the second day, the Kauravas army saw a huge amount of death and there were a lot of loss of lives. On the third day, a lot of celestial weapons were used by both the Kauravas and the Pandavas army. The Kauravas made an eagle formation, and to counter that and to make it equal, the Pandavas army formed a crescent moon, a half moon shaped kind of an army so that it would counter the eagle formation. The Pandavas turned out to be victorious at the end of the third day. On the fourth day of the war, Bhima killed 8 of Duryodhana's brothers. At the end of that day, Duryodhana was completely devastated. He was so worried, so he went to Bhishma. After the day was over, he went to Bhishma and asked for his advice as to how they could win over the Pandavas. Bhishma advised, Bhishma being the great Pitamaha that he was, told that the truth and the justice lied on the side of the Pandavas, and it would be better if Duryodhana compromised and spoke for peace even now. The 5th, 6th, 7th days were totally furious. A lot of lives were lost, a huge amount of people died, but still the war went on. On day 8, the Kauravas were defeated very badly. Bhima killed almost 17 sons of Duryodhana. Everybody were devastated. Everybody was so sad seeing the loss of lives. But that is how a war is supposed to be, right? You got to move on. You have to fight being a Kshatriya. On the 9th day of the war, there was huge mass destruction that was caused by Bhishma. Duryodhana kept blaming Bhishma that he was not fighting. He was very angry at Bhishma for not fighting, and always thought that Bhishma was some or the other way trying to support the Pandavas. So he kept insulting Bhishma and kept pestering him to win over the Pandavas. So Bhishma got very furious on that day. So he he very reluctantly killed a lot of lives and soldiers, elephants, horses. There was a lot of destruction caused by him. Seeing this, Krishna told Arjuna to take a step and go ahead and kill him. But Arjuna refused, telling that he was the great grandfather. That made Lord Krishna very angry. So he got down from the chariot. He himself was ready to go and kill Bhishma. Bhishma was extremely happy. He welcomed Krishna with open arms and told how blessed he would be if Krishna himself killed him. But Arjuna ran towards Krishna, stopped Krishna, and reminded him of the promise, the vow that Krishna had taken as to not to touch any weapons during the entire Mahabharat war. So Arjuna stopped him and calmed Krishna down, and he told that he would make sure that he himself would kill Bhishma. That night, Yudhishthira approached Bhishma for advice and asked what is to be done in order to win. Bhishma advised Yudhishthira to use Shikhandi as a shield, and that Bhishma would never ever raise any kind of arrow against a person who is not fit for a war. And Shikhandi was not fit for a war, right? Shikhandi was neither a male nor a female, so Bhishma would never do that. Shikhandi is Amba. Way back, if you go to our previous episodes, if you've seen those, you would understand who Shikhandi is. She was Amba who took birth only to kill Bhishma. So on the 10th day, Shikhandi stood in the front and Arjuna stood behind Shikhandi and started releasing arrows towards Bhishma. Bhishma did not release any arrows. So the powerful arrows of Arjuna hit Bhishma. A lot of arrows were thrown at him. So his entire body was covered with arrows and he fell off the chariot. His body did not touch the ground as the arrows protected him from touching the ground. He fell off. Bhishma's father Shantanu had given him a boon of Ichamrityu, that he would die only when he wishes to die. Bhishma had promised his father that before his death, he would secure Hastinapur in the hands of a proper kingdom. So in order to do that, he decided to wait until the entire war was over and then decided to die. He decided to die on the first day of Uttarayana. When he fell down on the bed of arrows, he wanted to drink water. All the war stopped giving him respect. All the Pandavas and Kauravas came running towards him and everybody started crying. At the end, he was one of the greatest of the Bharata's clan and everybody adored him and looked up to him. All of them were feeling very devastated. He asked for water. Duryodhana thought of running and fetching some water. But Arjuna took out his arrow, hit the ground, and the Ganga water from the earth below came and he gave it to Bhishma. Until the 10th day, until Bhishma was taking part in the war, he was the head of the entire Kauravas army. We'll see what happens in the following days in our next episode. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and do subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on my Instagram. I'll leave the handle down below. I'll see you again next time. Until I see you, be good, do good always. Thank you.